Wow, amazing compliment of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're connected from. Thank you. Happy New Year, compliment of the season. I know it's a new year, and that's a super amazing, ladies and gentlemen. So you're welcome tonight. We're taking us through tonight talking in the market and looking at what we have to offer. And there's a new year. Where are we heading to? What's going to be happening? And all of those things are going to be what people's inquisitive will be. And what are we going to have? Where are we going to? What's the market offering? And all the like. You're welcome, everybody. Just type um, 111 on the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, type 111 on the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, type 111 on the chat box. You know you can hear me loud and clear and type 111 on the chat box. You're welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Happy New Year. You're welcome, everybody. If you can hear me loud and clear, just put 111 on the chat box very quickly so that we can move on tonight and looking at the market and what are we going to have? What do we want to get tonight? How are we going tonight? And what are we going to have for this new year? What do we have in stock in this new year? And what is obtainable? PK, you can hear me, please? You type 111 on the chat box, please, quickly, everybody. Just type 111 on the chat box. You know you can hear me loud and clear. Just type 1111 on the chat box. You can hear me loud and clear. All right, thank you very much for that. Yes, so only one person is hearing me loud and clear. You know you can hear me very loud, very clear. Just time 111 on the chat box. Okay, I do want to believe only two people can hear me. Please, you can hear me. Type 111 on the chat box. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Good evening. Um, Merry Christmas and Andreas. And Happy New Year continued. All right. Anyone again to hearing me? Type 111 on the chat box. You know you can hear me loud and clear. I do want to believe that the number of people watching me live now, not only few people can hear me until I have number of people that can hear me loud and clear, then we're going to go together. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome tonight. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're connected from. As you all know, this is a new year and it really matters a lot. Right? The new year it really matters a lot to us. Where are we going to? What are we having? What is obtainable? I know a good number of people have made some New Year resolutions, and this is what I'm going to do this year. I'm not going to do this. Yalla, all manner of things you have made. You have written it down, uh, and whatever. So it's normal. It's not today. We've always been hearing that people say, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do this year," or "This year, really, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that." And unfortunately, people again get started with what they have said they were not going to do again and all of that. Okay. But nevertheless, it's one of those things. And then it's not new that people make some resolution. But I hope you have made a very fantastic resolution about your finances this year. All right. You have made fantastic resolutions about your finances this year. It's very important. Just a moment, guys. So, because we're going to be examining the markets, looking at the crypto market, looking about the forex market, and looking at the stock market. And there are some of the stock probably we can have, or do we have some crypto we can have? Those of you who followed us last week, or was it last week? I can't really remember, but I think either last week market update on Sunday like this, or those of you who follow us through on investment highlights Monday we couldn't, so it was roll out to Tuesday. And I'm sure those of you who followed us on that Tuesday, There was a token. There were tokens we talked about, and one of it was called River. And today, or after that, when we're talking about this token, the price of the token was around less than $5 anyway. Was average of 4 point something dollars that time, and we have that token actually moved massively and went to about $17. Okay, before we do other things, let me just show us. Those of you who bought the token, if you bought it and you didn't remember the number of people who were following, will have bought and make money. And if you didn't remember, I think you can take profit. You're still on 3x or so. Just a moment, guys. All right, so it's lovely. And so whoever bought the coin should take profit and all of that. Okay. Now, so quickly, let's look at the market. I have a little challenge right now about the market, selling Bitcoin. I'm seeing Bitcoin, right, temporarily for now, struggling because we have a lot of liquidations below the market price right now to as low as $85,000. All right, that's one of the challenge I think I'm having right now about the market, and it's a kind of a little concern. Okay, now so let's look at the DXY. Many of you, if you have been following us about the market, first, one of the first statistics or rules or tools we use in analyzing the market in general, it's the DXY. All right, it's the DXY. Now, so the DXY as a kind of index for the strength of dollars. We ought to have broken out up to this point, but unfortunately, we have not been able to take out properly of this region. And for that, the markets, one way or the other, were still tangled, as it were. So many of you can see my screen. But however, right now, we're looking at the market as if we are actually at the a proper retracement, all right, for DXY into this region. So meaning that we ought to take up to back of this point and break out of this point for us to continue moving up. Now, outside that, it's still very, very problematic, but we are still in order anyway, even up to this black line. Now, but this is the point. This is an implication for people who are trading currencies and all the like in forex market. So if that's the case, even if we still come down to this black line, we're still in order, but that's going to pull down some of the instruments we have. Okay, so now, so I always tell people that DXY is the upside down of Euro USD. Okay, is the upside down of Euro USD. Now, Euro USD is actually at the time of indecision. Oh, yes. So now in a short time frame, you probably will have been buying, selling, buy and selling Euro USD, but it's at a point of indecision. The reason is that we have the high here, we have the low here, external structure, and we have this higher than this. Then, if that's the case, this is the trading range that we should have for go Euro USD. So it means if you take from here to this point, then you should be looking at Euro USD um, actually bands appropriately, all right, navigating up. So it become indecision in the sense that it's in between, almost creating a lower high, and if it's unable to make it above this point. But it looks like we have an internal structure for these guys. But the most important aspect is this: if the DXY is going to maintain the momentum, then you continue to have Euro USD crashing. I have a short position for Euro USD that's still continue up to now for the Euro USD. All right. Then I expect a kind of some level of bounce here. And that's why you see I have it marked to this point. So if I have a bounce here or I have a bounce here. Now, so irrespective of where I have a bounce, then that market could continue up. But this is subject to the behavior of DXY in the new week and remember in the new year. So with the new week activities, then before we can determine this. So if you are trading Euro USD or US dollar based currencies, you have to be very careful as we open market tonight and tomorrow Monday being the working activities or working days and all of that. And that's the same thing that's going to rub off on GBP USD. So I just want to quickly get all of this thing down. So if we have that, you can look at GBP USD to have been off move peradventure, right? Being that we have a high here, we have a low here, and we have a high here, okay, and then extreme low here. So meaning we have taken out these and we have a lower high here, and that means ordinarily this is already um, a down move, as it were. So if you could take this to this point and then to this external low, so we are still within the range that GBP USD, even if it touch over to this point, was still in order then to crash down. Now, but like I've said, the two of them, this had already signified some kind of movement down ordinarily. So because you could have this straight down here, and then a lower high here, then a lower low here. So that means this ordinarily, but as we have a kind of return back of the DXY, push this kind up. And so if we're going to have a rejection over here, then we continue to push up and invalidate this. Outside that, we're going to continue to sell down for GBP USD. So, but if you're trading them, you have to be very careful. I'm not going internal structure this time around because I have a whole lot of things to show. All right. Um, then let me quickly look at Bitcoin first before another thing will happen. Now here we have on Bitcoin. The whole thing is this. Bitcoin ordinarily, can I say short-lived? We're supposed to be coming down to perhaps as low as $74,000 for Bitcoin. Yeah, $74,000. This is the spring. Now, but we got, all right, truncated at this point. So if that is the case, so now what really happened is this: we have like a kind of double top region. We have the first swing, the second. That's supposed to be the third, and then we can now looking at a bottom out. So, but this is the point. Bitcoin have the major swing high here, and then the major swing low here on external daily time frame. Now, if that's the case, so you could have something like this for Bitcoin and gone down to this point. So that means Bitcoin, you heard me talked about Bitcoin, we need to cross $94,000 and above, even as massive as possible. That if we're unable to cross $94,000, forget about it. Then we're still going to crash down. Now, but there's a little point I saw, or there's a little kind of movement I saw on Bitcoin, almost creating a kind of rejection even before getting to that $94,000. And so you have to be very careful when you are opening new markets and but we just need to see where the candle closes for Bitcoin. And you don't want anything happen to Bitcoin, it's going to affect every other cryptos. So that's one thing I have seen, that Bitcoin looks like we're still going to one time drop down to the range of that 88,000, 87,000, 86,000, back down to as low as $85,000 or $85,600, if those things been equal. Okay? Now, but that could be another more buying opportunity. So if that's what I'm saying, that's you're looking at the Bitcoin still coming down to this region. And then if we cannot hold, remember this is the only thing holding us before we can travel down to that $73,000. Remember, there's some month back that time we're supposed to come down to that region and we never did, right? And then the market continued. Now, so what is the implication of Bitcoin? So it's not your problem, perhaps, but the only challenge is that it's going to affect some of those tokens that we've bought and we want to buy more. Okay. Now, if you are within the Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club, you see that we mentioned some tokens, and I think it's one of them that is still having a low, we're negative for 5%. Every other one, the minimum we have is about 7%, some 16%, about some having about 38%, all right, some having about 70%, 63%. Now, so the challenge is that if Bitcoin actually pushed down, we're going to have those coins move down. So, but if we don't, I've seen that Bitcoin probably make it above $94,000 and sweep liquidity over here, then get rejected at this fair value gap, which about $97,000. If you get there, then that means we're going to have more coins moving up before they actually scroll down. You can see Solana, or automatically Solana just stuck up. So Bitcoin is going to push down. Then you see Solana crash down again back to $120 or $119. Yeah. And then as a form of major retest, perhaps, then we can now have more buying opportunity. That's one of the things. But if we can have Bitcoin moving up, then you can have Solana take it up to 140, $145, and that's some money for those of us who buy. All right. So, but there were some tokens, like there's a token we talk about, APX, APT. Some of you bought it, and I still gave it out to a particular group. Now, this token ought to perform very well. So that means we have chances of hitting up to, let's look at it quickly. So from where I bought to the very bottom, all right, about 1.4 something. Now some bought at about 1.67, some bought at 1.5 something, and all of that. So if you take it from there, we're looking at APT to give us about 200 to 300% move eventually. So, but the challenge is this: if you're holding some of those tokens, and then you actually maybe your centralized exchange, and then if Bitcoin is going to be pushing down, you probably will want to uh, push in your stop loss or just allow it to be, because after all, it's spot trading. And then when it come down, you can DCA. If not, we're supposed to be moving up as smooth as possible. Okay, there were some old coins that actually forgot to tell. So then we saw what Floki had done. Floki was part of the token we actually mentioned that people bought. And then we see Floki 2 is still doing very nicely well. All right. So if you look at Floki from the bottom here, we have Floki. And the truth is this, that's about 40 something percent. Now, one of the things is that when you see Dogecoin, when you see Dogecoin start pumping, Shiba Inu. So Shiba Inu is one of our legendary token that we bought in 2021 or 2020 thereabout. So when you see some of those tokens start moving, that means the altcoin system want to set up. And so that's one of the super cycle we think we're having in 2026 if it really happen. But the only challenge now is this. If you look at it, look at the USDT dominance. Now, the good news is that it's getting set for dropping down. And if it does, then that's going to make a whole lot of sense for us. Okay, so let's just take in this way. All right, until eventually you have something over here. So, but it's still a very serious issue if we're unable to get off of this place. Okay, so that means if Bitcoin could not, if this cannot pierce more, if it drop below this point, then we can rally on Bitcoin to about $120,000, maybe before the end of the month. And now, so your interest shouldn't be Bitcoin. Your interest is to be altcoins that can give you a very good performance. All right. So because if the USDT dominance can go back to as low as probably 4 billion, all right, something like that. Uh huh. So down somewhere here, 4.2%, or yeah, or 4.1% or 4.5% from 6 point something percent, then that means we can move as much as possible. So, but all things boil down to um, whatever the market closes with tonight and open again. But it looks confusing that Bitcoin was still going to drop to about that 85,000 to $86,000 before the major move could happen. And now, so you can see was Ethereum. So Ethereum too is taking, trying to push up and all of that. So, but of course, Ethereum is still okay, but I'm not sure those are what borders and matter to you so much. Okay, some of you we bought into this token. This was a token that was like a low gem token. I have a position both long and spot on this token right now. I think if I check the long, I think the other day I was teaching and I explained about the importance of trading with leverage and not like the way people actually present leverage to be. Because most persons, when they are trading leverage, as in trading future trading, so what they always look at, they see people's all right. Okay. So like this, I'm already on about how much profit now for this 30%, and I use just 5x. Okay. Just to giving an example, let me just show just a moment. A moment. Let's go this way. Okay. All right. So now my target is this: if this token, if all things being equal, but everything cannot be equal. So it's to target looking at this token as at the time we entered, but even from here, still targeting about 40%. And now, so if it's 40%, so 40 times five, that's going to be 200%. So if it's $500 or if it's $100 or $200, you put in there. So that means you're going to flip it to two, three times. Okay. Remember where we actually entered from. So that's one of the things about this token. And so, but we actually need to see Bitcoin actually respecting itself. Without that, then such a token will just crash land and come back to about 10 cent again or 13 cent. All right. And that's why we are a little bit caution. Now, for those of us who bought into some of those tokens who have done good profit, now if you see signs by the time market closes and Bitcoin is going to be crashing more, then you want to be selling part of them to buy back at the bottom. So the same thing on some of those tokens that we have forgotten. I was telling some of us this token makes us a lot of money when we talk about them at the launch. Many of you remember Bonk, and that was a very lovely. Some of you still have your Bonk lock in some places where we paired it with Wen and all of that. So if you still have, right? So now, but we just need to be very careful because if Bitcoin is not going to give us what we're looking for, then this could be the rejection of this token eventually. But if Bitcoin is going to push up above that $94,000, then it's going to be lovely that some cut um, bunk from down here and then traveling to not get trapped here. And so once we have that, we're able to move up to as massive as expected. So that means that will be targeting up here first. So if you missed out and then the Bitcoin is going to break out, So that means you can still do about 60 to 70% move. Then for those who are gotten from the base here, and that would be doing about 150, 160% as expected. And so now, but just keep an eye on Bitcoin movement and behavior. And also, I've said even if you move up, you're looking at Bitcoin here, and even eventually first touch 106, 105, 106,000. Now, ability to break out those that points to go to about $116,000 before we can hit up to $120,000. Look at the barricade. All right. So, but I always say any trader who take the profit on the table never go broke. But it's not about just taking profit on the table. What do you do with the profit you took on the table? And that's very, very important. And this is a question you must answer yourself every time you are going to the market. Okay, so let's quickly look at gold, as it were. So let's look at gold and then look at the commodity market. Oh, sorry, the capped market, and then some of us actually have not paid attention um, to the market as it were. So if you look at gold, so you look at gold invariably, it has an established swing low and a swing high. So that means you're looking at gold to still crash down, probably to where it is now. So I wouldn't even have too much to explain here because we have gold as an external movement on daily time frame, having bound up to this point, and then you still have if gold is going to crash down to even as low as $4,030. It's not a bad deal. We're still in order. But if you go internal structure, you have some short kind of move. If you've been following last week, when market opened, I told people that gold was going to be crashing. And so, and then for people who got in, they were able to make money. And even within this kind of movement, we're still able to make money. And so, because here we have that the gold have gotten the inducement on daily time frame, right? Another hand over here. And so we should be looking at gold returning back to this region. And that's about 4,030 dollars per ounces of gold. And then before we can find a new buy. But look at it. Well, if your people go to internal structure like 4 hour time frame or 1 hour time frame, 15 minutes, you're going to be finding some buying and selling opportunity and then in between the lines. But if you look at it, then we'll say, oh, ultimately, we should be coming down to 4,000 region and then for us to reset and rebalance the market as it were. Okay, so that's for gold. I think if you are on the community, you should have seen I've sent a video about the update about gold, Euro USD, and some other instrument as it were. Okay, I just to hope that everybody will still following me. I just want to hope that now, if you can still hear me loud and clear, just type 111 on the chat box. If you're coming just fresh, type 111 on the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, everybody. Type 111 on the chat box. If you know you can hear me very loud and clear, type 111 on the chat box. 1111 on the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, quickly type 111 on the chat box, and I still greet you. Happy New Year, compliment of the season. Okay, thank you very much. You can hear me. Lovely. So now there's something I always love people to understand when it comes to this business. This business is a business of taking responsibility. It's a business of taking responsibility. And I want to disabuse, at least we have entered new year 2026. I want to disabuse people's mind who always come because they want to do Ponzi schemes and, I'm going to make this type of money. Yes, fine. Because, okay, let's be candid. Let's look at it. One of those coins that did massively, that was doing 70% already is UFD. UFD. It's one of those token. Okay. So now it'll make okay, that must have done more than what I was saying. Now, if you look at this token, we bought it, right? Today's word, today's so only today, this token, only today, this token has done about 37% only today. So yesterday and today, this token has done 78%. So that means even what I reported on the group the token must have done more than that because this was on the third and we bought it on the second. And I think around 6 a.m. or something. Now, so let's even take it. That means for anyone within the ecosystem, if you're on private mentorship, you should have bought the token. If you don't buy it, that's your responsibility. If you're on Plan B Express Capital Solution Club and you didn't buy, that's your responsibility. That means you are not following at all. So, but the point is this: it looked like a Ponzi scheme, reason that the movement. So you can imagine the movement of this token in 3 days, right? In 3 days, we have done 78%. Now I'm not talking about some of those massive meme coin that would do some crazy percentage. But look at this token, it's actually meme coin. Within 3 days, you have done 70 something percent. Let's call it 70%. So that means if you put in $1,000 in buying only this coin, you've done about $780, or let's call it $700 within 2 days. So because on the second, yesterday was third, so on the second to now, it's about 2 days, 3 days, 48 hours. You almost flipping your $1,000. Now this is not um future trading. So if it's going to be future trading, look at it. So 78% or 75%. Now, if it's future, now I will always say, hey, as a beginner, you don't use more than 2, 3x, maximum of 5. So let's say you're going to use 5x. So you can do the calculation by yourself. If you use 5x, multiply by 75%. Good. 5x multiplied by 75%. So it's going to be 75% multiplied by 5. So that's about 375%, right? 375%. So if it's $1,000 now, 375%, that means you've done $3,750 within 3 days. Now that makes it look like a Ponzi, but it's not. But the point is this, because I've listened to a lot of people, if you're in our community and you don't take personal responsibility, the fruit of the matter is that coin are going to produce a lot of money for you, but you will leave them on the table until they crash again. So personal responsibility in this business is as sweet as, oh, follow instruction. When they ask to buy, you buy. I have a rule. If you are trading spot with us, I always tell people two things you must always do. You want to look at buy and sell one segment, buy and hold. And when you are holding till when? You are holding when it's profitable. So when it's profitable, you want to sell. But at that point, it's more of like position, and so it can take a longer time. So, and but when I say longer time is that, so for instance, let's look at this token. My ultimate goal for this token was that if it can return back to 5 cents, so if it can return back to 5 cents from my buying point, I actually bought before giving it to the community. So that means if it can return back to this point, I'm going to be doing 421% of this token, right? So now, even if it's poor trading that I keep there for maybe sometime, let's say I want to keep for 6 months or 1 year, and what if within within 3 weeks it pump up to this point? These are mistakes many of us make. If it pump up to this point, what should I do? I don't need to wait for the 6 months or 1 year I want to wait for. It has produced to this point. Does it still have strength to rally more? Yes. Okay, I can allow it to be. Or it doesn't have more strength to rally more. Maybe it's going to rally up to 500%. Okay, then it shows the signs of weakness. Of course, when you get there, you know how to cross it if you're following us. Now you now say, oh, that means this token does not have energy to move on. But you have done 500% within 3 weeks. Now it is expected you take your profit and then probably monitor the coin or diversify that money into another coin. These are the things and minor things we always expect people to do. But people are literally so lazy and they don't want to do anything. And then this is money. Where this is monetary kind of type of thing. But it is easy for a lot of people to be doing conventional business and take personal responsibility. But when it comes to online, crypto, forex, and all of that, people go, "Oh, I'm so busy." And I ask people, "What do you do?" Now, so going to the capital market, so I'm not going to talk about some of the coin. Um, okay, another token I was actually checking, but it was another community I give. I have a lot of community. Was Pippin. Okay, Pippin too has done some move massively since on the beginning of this month. That was on the first. Yeah, where is the first? Excuse. Okay, okay. Pippin Hardings actually moved to that extent. Yeah, PP hasn't really moved to that extent. Okay, it's another token, probably. Where's a U? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, humanity. Yes, H. Okay, so let's look at the stock market quickly. There's something I will show to many of us today. Now, if you follow me and you bought into First Bank before the move, all right, before the move last week, congratulations. But there was something I said immediately when the move was happening. What did I say? I say I expect a massive correction from that 55 naira because why? We many of us bought at $28. That's the one I'm buying to sell. The first time I bought First Bank was not at the pre-sale market or the public offer. When I bought it from a buy and hold, buy and sell, was in 2020, something like that. Actually bought it at about $7, and we've been paying dividend on that and all of that. So if you look at 2020, $7, all right, $7. So if you look at it went to 55 naira, 55 naira divided by 7 naira. That means those one I bought that time I've done 7.8x. Oh yeah. So that is 780%. So 780%. So 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. So that means I bought this shares since about 6, 7 years ago. And so 780% divided by 6 years. So 780% divided by 6 years. So that means on the average, I was doing 130% every year. Now, this is not happening if you don't take personal responsibility. Now, and I said the stock was going to crash. Now, who can tell me why this happened? Can someone tell me? Now, let me quickly tell you. When it has to do with investment, either in crypto, investing in stock, and that's the one you want to hold, you don't need too much technical. It's about fundamental. Let me tell you one of the things that moved this. It was not technical. Technically, this is abnormal. What happened here? You can call it market manipulation. Fine. But for a market to be manipulated, decision has to be made. I'm on air. There are things I will not be able to say. There's one man who is one of the major mover and shaker of the financial market in Nigeria or real business moguls in Nigeria, right? Now, so First Holding was almost dropping. Okay, First Holding was almost dropping out to be merged based on the refined CBN capitalization and international standard and all of that. So First Bank was almost dropping, not meeting up with the margin. Oh yeah, okay. So there was a new man that came in, and that's his business. The same man took out to what is this called? What is this guy called? Jereg. Huh? Okay, Jerigo. Okay. Now, so what did they do? What did this man did? So what they did was very simple, was to sell off some massive stock from another company because of course it's already money and push that money into another company because that stock was already more expensive, it's already established, and that stock was sold and much money was deposited into First Holding. Now, when I was telling people, I said, buy something is going to be happening very soon, many people may not even pay attention. And that was what pushed this token. Now, guess what? Pushed this share. Now, I expect a correction. And after even that correction, because at least I sold at 55 naira, oh no, 53 naira. And then I bought back at about 42 naira again because I expect the correction to happen. And why? So now these people, this person pushing much money to buy the company share. Now, so what do? We leverage. Very simple. Leverage is that you don't have too much money to play the game. All right. So what do? Have an awareness, information ahead of when certain things want to happen, shaker and mover want to happen. Then you took your little money and put it and ride the market with them. And that was what happened here. So I'm not going to be surprised if eventually, even if it will not crash back, because of course, as much as that volume is still available, and then they are still pushing more some money, attraction is coming in, then you can see the stock going to be sideways. And when you don't imagine it, when it's going to have a sharp drop because there will going to be some money ejecting out when the company gets stability, then over time may be able to meet up. But this is definitely an abnormal chart. But if not some of those permutation and combination, such move will have crashed down back to the base where they come from, or worst case scenario, to have crashed back to 35 naira and now be struggling there. So, but I'm just showing you guys something, right? And let me use another example. Many of you, if you are on our platform or you have been following, register. We have link we sent on Bamboo, on Meritrade, and all of that. Now, there was an instrument that was called, before it was called NC30. Now, just like ETF, NC30 in Nigeria. But right now, the thing is called SIBT C30. All right. So if you didn't come out as you want, it's called, let me just call it Stambic, okay? Stambic IBTC ETF 30. Now, oh God, money is made, but many are sleeping. Now, when I saw this about the beginning of this year, right? No, not even too much. Yeah, not just early. Now, this was seated, right? This has first gone up, good, from 200 and something dollars, a naira, sorry, and then a push up. So I want to see where I was looking at it. I think it was around June when it was 260 something naira. Okay, yeah, so about 260 something naira, right? Now this is what happened. Let's look at something. So from the beginning of the year, so let's say April, May, something, and then to this point, the all-time high, that's about 600%. Now, what's this instrument for? It's an ETF. What is this ETF for? Now, many of you probably wouldn't understand what they call ETF, both local and international. ETF simply means you are buying into a portfolio of good performing shares or stock of companies in the book. Like some of you heard about QQQ on the international market, that's S&P 500 and all of that. So now what we're doing, like this is just like those of us who are trading commodity, you're trading forex trading, and you hear about US 30 NAS 100 in the international market. US 30 top strong um, New York Stock Exchange company instrument, and then you are investing into them instead of buying one share. You are investing portion and portion and portion. So when this is performing, this is not performing, then there's an override, and that's exactly what can happen in the market. So in this case, what you are having is that buying into top 30 company in Nigeria: Presco, Okomo Oil, Access Holding, Zenith Bank. And so, those, as I'm mentioning some of those things, maybe you can write down, you can review, look at Zenith Bank, look at Fidelity Bank, all right? Look at Zenith Bank, look at Fidelity Bank, look at UBA, and then some of those financial market, financial institution or financial sector in the capital market is not yet done. So that means you are still going to make money. So we're in January now. This is the right time, or the best time will have been during the festive season because people sell off to do one or two things. Then you will have been collecting, and by this January now you will have been moving up gradually and all of that. But it's still never late. So some of those coin companies I mentioned, like Access Holding, and some of the few other ones you want to buy. I remember when I mentioned, so this one has actually corrected. I don't know, maybe it's still going to come down to about less than 1,000 naira. So that means if it's going to, I'm not going to be surprised before the year runs out because it's not a long instrument introduced. I'm not going to be surprised before the year runs out that this thing can go up to 5,000 naira per slot of this ETF. It's very possible. It has done high up to 1,900 naira. Okay, so it's very possible. So that means you are investing on different layers of instrument. So it's very lovely. So when I listen to people, I don't know what's going on and all of that. Let me tell you something. When system is going on, if you don't know where to leverage on, you'll be left behind. I remember giving people to buy this into this, and I'm sure this stock is still going to go up. I saw a message, somebody checked me one time that can I still buy when it was for 3 naira per shares. All right, now it's 55 naira per share. Fits in. This is a company. This is a pharmaceutical company. When I bought this, was at first I bought at about 9 naira. Later I bought about at 12 naira. The last one I bought was about 15.8 naira per shares. And so I left it, and then dividend have been paid on it. Now, here you go. It's still less than 100 naira. So even if it's going to have a benchmark of 100 naira, so we still have a long way to go. So imagine on the average you buy at 15 naira. So multiply by 3, that will be 45 naira per share. So by the time you get to 60 naira, then you have done about 300%. Apart from the profit you have made on capital gain, the profit you have made on the dividend as much as possible. Okay, so I'm just giving us all of this to have an idea that when it comes to this kind of a thing, you need to diversify and strategize your investment. There was international stock I bought before. It's called RKT, though it's struggling. Yeah, though it's struggling. What I expect is for it to go to 21 naira, but ultimately was supposed to have a target of about $25. Sorry, not 25 naira. Okay, so I actually added to position, but before I told some of the people, if you are on Capital Extend, if you're on Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club, we have a segment for capital market, the stock market, because it's part of what you subscribe for. Okay, because the whole thing we're doing there. So I think I bought back here because this is a support, and from that point, if you look at it, from that point to where it is now, let's look at it here. That means I've done about 10%. Now, this is the thing I want to tell people. You will have asked me, Felix, is that there's no need you buying into stock market when Bitcoin or cryptocurrency are doing more massive thing. Listen, the scripture talked about give portion to six. It now say even up to six, seven, up to eight. Say, but you know because you know not you know what evil will come upon the earth. Now, it's not one of the secret for risk management in the financial market or in business generally is diversification. When I talk about diversification, I'm not talking about investing into one Ponzi scheme to another because when you talk about diversification, a lot of people to come and tell you that that's why I don't put my egg in one basket. Even if you like you spread your money on 10 platforms, as far as it's a Ponzi scheme, it's still going to land you in the same place. That's the truth. So now you look at me, why do you invest in stock and why crypto is doing more massive thing? The only thing I tell people is that on stock, you may not have time to do normal kind of trading, buy, sell. But there's some stock that will present some fantastic opportunity to you. You just have to buy, sell. I remember when I told people to buy Envy that was about $50 per share, and then over time it move up. I remember I was telling you guys that I expect that Nvidia to go to about 200 and something dollars before it actually moved down. It gets to 220 or 213 before it gets down. So, but imagine you have bought into Nvidia when the Nvidia came down to about 80 something dollars per share. Yes, you hear me right. That was around April last year, 2025, and it has been on a consistent rise since that time because one of the number one tech company, of course, more of hype, our activities and all of that. But what you are buying into is a time and season like the children of Issachar. So most time people don't pay attention to all of things. We chase shadow. Oh, if I can see a company or platform that can pay me this and that, you make more money paying attention, leveraging on some of those things than. But when I tell people, I say when it has to do with crypto, for instance, the best thing is that have access to the right information, learn basic on navigating here and there, and then you are good to go. Because what many people are chasing or running after is what you can settle and relax and make more, than floating here and there. Okay, so international stock, we buy many, 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 many more international stock and then the local stock. Now, but the point is, if you look at it, I told friends, I say, if you can settle down and be patient with stock, then how much more crypto? Okay, I just showed yours now, for instance, some stock, crypto. Let me check one of the things. This was this to go. Okay, even Pepe, we bought more into Pepe. Yes, Pepe. And then you can see now. So you can see what Pepe has done, right? We bought some more to Pepe and Dodge and all of that. Look at what Pepe has done, right? So Pepe have done about 7 something percent, give and take. So, and I'm looking at Pepe to still rally up as much as possible. Remember where Pepe was? And so now, so if you can be patient with um, buying into stock, some of you buy into land property, and one of the things that we said, buying into real estate is not like before. You have many ways of investing into real estate. We talked about land banking and retail than just proper development. So how much money do you have to start developing a property? And so, but you want to leverage on existing system structure, and so that you buy into monetary activities of a company, and then some too you can buy into. I think there's some property in Ikoyi, Lagos, and then other places that there's an amount you will have into your investment, then you can own part of it. You sign the deal and all of that. So every renter, you are getting paid over time. If you want to set them off, you can set them off and all of that. So there are so many dynamics in the real estate market more than what you used to have before right now. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you can see, buying into crypto, a lot of people, oh man, what is happening and all of that. But so just imagine, just 3 days, just 3 days, no, not up to 3 days, just few days right now, right? You can imagine what we have gotten already on some of those. I told us the one that was just messing up was Quark AI. Let me just check that. So I mean, I always have Quark AI. I always settle around round figure in my market. So look at Quark AI is still struggling, although being a new token anyway, so anything can happen to it. So that's the only one that that has given us negative, and this one too has not moved so much. It's got Griffin. So maybe Griffin is on Solana network, so it hasn't really moved so that much. So Griffin, maybe if you have money, you can still buy. But like I said, now when you buy some of those tokens, don't be in a haste, okay? So sometime because the Bitcoin is going to crash more, I'm not saying it has crashed because you have to allow the market to close tonight and then new opening for us to identify where actually we're going to move to. But just know that at 94K, 95, 96K, we're having resistance. We can push it back down again, as it were. So, but before then, some of those tokens will have done maybe 100%, and then you want to be taking the profit and again watch what the market want to do. Then if you are trading futures, you can write it down, and then if you're not trading future, you want to relax behind and then wait for it to dip into an expected level, and then from there you want to take into that money and all of that. Now most aspect people don't pay attention to again is that, I just want to make so amount of money every month and all of that. We got your back. That's the truth. We got your back. Reason being that we have so many ways, all right? We have so many ways of making money. Okay? So when I say so many ways, so I'm not talking about gambling. I'm telling you legitimately. So when we talk about so many ways of making money, legitimate way of making money, and but at all time, when you don't want to pay attention to, so we are so busy with ourselves, and then you are going to give your money to funny people. Now, last night, if you are on our group, you will see that we're trying to develop a lot of automation in. That's one of the new oil well that you can have in the financial market now. Automation that is copy system. Now, there is no doubt. Have we lost crazy money on automation? That is yes, but they are more of robotic trading. Okay, they are more of robotic trading. So, but automation today is more or less like more following of experts. So, but experts too, if you, I know many of you have some story to tell about the bad, the good, the ugly. One of the issues is that If you're following expert that is not highly conservative, and not even they that are the problem, me and you are the problem. Some of us will be following some expert that are doing well organically because trading is mechanical. We get tired. Oh, we have a place that we can do 100% every month, and then you pull out your money, you jump into those places. Now they can do you 1 2 months, like somebody shared with me his experience. After 1 or 2 months, their performance is not good again. And what discourages you is that you be on a platform where you are copying a trade, and because trade does not come every day, you get tired, you get bored. Oh, I thought I've been in this platform now, I've not seen any trade. I'm laughing in Swahili because you know why? Many of us who have done some kind of funny thing about our copy trading and all of that. I'm laughing in the sense that we may have to make some of those copy trading not public. We will not disclose it. So if you have cut off from some of our copy system, you may not be allowed to get connected back because that's the level of distrust you actually have. Because and I know some persons took their money into funny platform, and some of those platforms are back off now. So what you are leveraging now is that you have good system. You can copy. We have about six automation, right? Six automation that you can leverage on. Some amplify. You must have had about 12x amplify, broker, and then we have a special connection to do 24x um, what's it called, amplified. And so why are we doing all of this? And I still do not even look at it that when you make money on the amplified, it should just be the only way. No, I love to spread tentacles. That's the truth. So if you have opportunity to be making average, okay, I cannot be calling percentage anyway, but to be making average of certain percentage that is reasonable every month. Now, what to do with the money that you're making is what matters, not how much you make. And so that's what we have for us. When you must have been hearing us talking on our group, Plan B Express Cash Flow Constitution Club, it gives you access to three major things: passive income system, active income system, and residual income system. I posted something not long. Let's not deceive ourselves. If your money that you want to start investing in 2026 is less than $100,000, I will kindly advise you need to be aggressive. If the money you have to start your business, I'm not saying small money wouldn't work, but system are going to go more capitalized, and then little money will not be able to do much. But if you can wake up and take aggressive approach, then your function of leveraging on some segment will help you. For instance, somebody who is just having $1,000 and all of that, and maybe you go into like our 24x amplified, so that's gonna going to 24,000. And so if 1% is done on 24,000, so that means what's going to happen is, 24% on your 1,000. That's about 240. All right. So, but if that 30% is going to be taken out of that, that's going to be 100 and something dollars. Now, you will want to see that you have much more than that. Now, why am I driving at? I want to kindly advise many of us who claim not to have time. Now, the easiest way and the fastest way of you raising money is to leverage on not only the automation, but following instruction and buy and sell by yourself. For instance, in Forex, and one of the massive opportunity in Forex now is the advent of prop firm. I have told many persons who come my way, oh, I'm looking for money and all of that. The best place to start is prop firm. But the challenge many of us do have in prop firm, you will start prop firm and you put all your problem on that prop firm. You will not pass that challenge. That's the truth. Because you are putting challenge on top of challenge. But if you relax, I've seen at least thank God I've heard a lot of persons when I got some personal interaction with some of us in our group. I have some persons now who have been able to build their prop firm that is capital around all their prop firm. Some are built up to $700,000. Some are built up to $500,000. What do you mean by that? Having passed some challenge, some pass 200,000 challenge, some pass 100,000 challenge, 50,000 challenge. So when you model all of this together, some of them 450, some of them 500, some of them 300, some of them 200. So, meaning that at this point, if you have equity up to 200,000, you can just say, let me struggle to make 1% or 2% of it in a month. Now, with that, you can actually take that money into, spreading. Like, okay, like when I send these 10 coins now, imagine you have about $10,000 separate. Then you now put $1,000 on the 10 coins. One I've done minus 5%. But others, the least is 7%. Some have done 75%, some have done 60%. But let's take the average. Let's say altogether, use it like an ETF, altogether 50%. Come on now. 50% of your $10,000 is already $15,000, please. Now you will now know what to do. Should I speak out some that have done massively well, and push it to another sector and all of that? Okay, so these are the things we're actually trying to inculcate in people to learn, so that when you are building your business, you are spreading your tentacles, and then you can have what to fall back to. A time comes, even when your portfolio drop, or a particular coin crash, or a particular asset crash, it will affect your portfolio because you have override it with other diversification. Okay, so this is very simple, and that's what we're doing. Now, those of us who are on Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club, please, I want to beg you, don't joke with the 90 days wet sprint we started. Today make it day 4. It's a responsibility. And you will love yourself when you finish with this responsibility. This first month, we're dealing on foundational, and it has been amazing. Every day, instruction are dropped, the videos and training are dropped. You sit down, discipline yourself, follow the instruction, learn. They are in parchment already. At the end of 30 days, there are things we expected us to have been able to um, harness. So the seventh day, I'm going to be interacting with us to get some feedback from us. An announcement is going to be made on the group, and then we have to post the time and the period. Sacrifice. I don't know. Somebody was saying that we learn how to work very hard. We learn how to pray. We learn how to do so many things. In fact, we learn how to be responsible in terms of not to cause problem for other people. Say, but we find it difficult to be disciplined over our finances. Discipline to learn, discipline to follow instruction, discipline to set out time for our personal development in business, especially those of us who come online. I laugh in Swahili most times. So why are you laughing in Swahili? So that when I laugh, you say, this guy, I don't understand, you're laughing. The truth is that I've seen people who come to me, I'm so busy in what I'm doing. I'll laugh because people take so much time to build their corporate economy skill. And what do I mean by that? You build your CV. A lot are studying, reading to make their CV, their profile, resume, or whatever thing they call it, to be top notch so that we can be hired. Of course, fired. But we find it so difficult to put touch notch energy, top notch power, focus, strength to build our personal economy. In fact, our personal economy is jeopardizing at the expense. So we put in so much to build corporate economy, and then our personal economy is dying. If I go and ask many people who have retired, I'm not even talking about far off, who just even retired, they will tell you a lot of things. They were faithful, they were committed, they were not stealing and all of that. But after retirement, nothing to fall back to. And I always tell people the best time to build your plan B is when your plan A is active. The best time to build your plan B is when your plan A is super active. So not when it's now redundant, you now want to use that up and down. You are going to run into problem. Ponzi scheme people will go after you. The little fund you have saved from your pension and all of that will fly off because you are so irrational at that time. You are looking for anything that works. All right. You are not intentional. You are not rational. You are not actually ready to take any personal responsibility. Okay, which one? Did they pay? Is it paying? And all of that. So it's important. We need to build up to take personal responsibility in building our personal economy. Okay, so on our group, we have where you take stock, you buy, where you take coin, you buy in sport. And I still encourage people when over time you're able to learn how to trade futures. Trading futures is not going to be using 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years like you see online. Go to companies that are trading for people. I have a platform I joined for since about how many years? If you check their leverage, the highest leverage I've seen them use is 7x. If not, they are consistently on 2 to 3x. But ask me, a little drop of water, they have not run out of market. But once you are looking for hit and run, you will run out of the market. That's the truth. So over time, you're looking at, okay, if this market is going to be crashing, okay, imagine when this market was crashing because this is a swing point and somebody have launching from here, for instance, to this point. Look at it. This is about 33%. And you just use 2x or 3x. 3x multiplied by 30, that is 90%. And you are not going to be rushing. And so 90%, and you put in maybe $500, maybe $1,000, and it's going to be cross margin. And when you complete 90%, $1,000, that have done $900. Money is not hit and run. I always tell people anybody can make money, but not everybody can build wealth. That's the truth. So the same thing this one now is going. Like I told you, I showed you example of 5x into it, has done about 30 or 30 something percent because maybe I do not even have time to have enter on time. So if he has done 30% and it's 5x, so now let's say, assuming this is the place, let's say this is the place I entered from, and if it's going to return back to this point, that's about 43%. And there you are. You have used 5x. I told you 5x multiplied by 40. That's 200%. So 200% on $1,000. That's $2,000 with rest of mind. Okay? These are the things that we expect people to take personal responsibility about. And they will not say spread your tentacle into automation. So the one you put in automation, the time you didn't see a good setup, your automation will cover up for you. And that's the summary of the whole thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we have for us tonight. You have any questions, you can type on the comment section and I will attend to them as smooth as possible. You have any question, please quickly. You can type on the comment section and I will respond to it. Okay, so if you don't have any question, thank you very much for coming. Tomorrow, I kick off straight off our investment diversification presentation it by 11 a.m. GMT plus one. That's Nigerian local time. 11 a.m. is 1 hour straight up. It's on this live session. We're going to be talking diversifying to investment opportunity and how you can connect your account to different automation and then probably some stock you could buy and all of that. 1 hour straight up. Then on Tuesday, it's usually for trading, okay, exposing you to some of those trading. Then if we have a live, any position we can take on Forex, on crypto, futures, synthetics, we take them and then you can see how it goes. Then Friday is usually residual opportunity. That's to do with affiliate. Good news is that in Plan B right now, we have an affiliate system that you can make 20% affiliate commission on anyone who you invite to our ecosystem to join Plan B Express Capital Solution. And good news is that so many persons met me and then they were like, please, can we have more favor and all of that? So the Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club, what do we call it? Discount was extended, but only 40%, not 50% any longer, was extended since on Saturday, and it will close this Saturday. From Saturday last week, all right, today, until Saturday this week, then it will close 40%. So if you're listening to me, your friends, and then you invite friends and all of that who say, oh, I thought they still have 50% offer. Good news. There is 40% offer now. They can take advantage of it. So thank you very much, everybody. Do have a nice time. Happy New Year. And it's going to be a very nice year for us. But please get set to take personal responsibility. Please, those of you on private mentorship, I hope you are checking update. And then those of you on Cash Flow Solution Club, I hope you are checking update. I'm going to be dropping some stock. You can buy both local and international. And I'm sure some of you have verified your account on Bamboo app, on the Merry Trade, on Trove Finance, and other app we use to buy local and international stock. So I'm going to be dropping them tonight before tomorrow morning or something, and then you can buy them when market open, both local and international stock. Now, I always tell people there is no amount that is too big to buy stock, and that's the similarity you see in stock and crypto. When people complain to you, there's no amount that is too small. Imagine somebody who buy $100 worth of, let's say you put $100 in 10 places, that's $1,000 in all of those coin mentioned, and on the average may have done 50%. If average is 50%, that means you have $500 profit right now. That's what it means. Thank you very much. To have a nice time. Bye bye.